Hi guys, Sandy from the Padel School here. In this video today, I'm going to talk about how you should be warming up when you step onto court. Now, I've organised and been involved in so many tournaments of beginner and intermediate level, and this is something I see all the time at all of the tournaments, and also when you go to a club at recreational level, players are warming up in the same way. So in this video, we're going to use a match analysis that has been sent to me, and the players very kindly allowed me to use the warm-up as an example of what you shouldn't be doing, and we're going to be constructive about how you can improve your warm-up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that at double speed, and then I'm going to go through my own warm-up and I'm going to play that at double speed as well, just so we're not having a really long video for this, and we're going to get all of the points in for what you should be doing when you warm up. So the first thing to notice is that we're starting from the back, hitting 100%. And because of that, we're not getting that consistency. The balls are kind of going everywhere, we're making mistakes. And then you've got players that wander into no man's land and they're hitting balls in areas of the court where they don't really want to be anyway. There's not really a structure to this warm-up. You'll notice there are players kind of moving forward, moving backwards, depending on really where the ball goes, as opposed to what they actually want to practice. And because it's at 100% from the beginning, it's difficult to get any kind of rhythm. You start getting a few balls in and the ball goes over the fence or it goes towards the back glass, and you can't really practice your shots. This should be a time to practice your shots, warm your shots up, so that by the time you get to a game, you're feeling pretty good. This is very common as well. You see players go up for that volley position. They'll go for maybe 5 or 6 volleys, of which in this case are all over the head, and then they'll go back to the back of the court, and it's not really practiced those volleys. It's kind of been a little bit messy, and therefore you've got inconsistencies in those shots. And these players, they won't mind me saying that when they talked about their game, they often said that they struggled to get warmed up in that first set. And you can understand why, because they've not really used this warm-up to the main purpose they should, and therefore it takes a whole set to get that consistency. It's almost like they're thinking about warming up their bodies, but not really warming up their shots. So again, you're seeing players come forward for the volley, you're seeing players move from the back of the volley. And the other thing that's really important is when it comes to the smashing. So the smashing is obviously a difficult part of the game, and it's often where players say they need the most practice. So when you do it in a warm-up, start slow and try and get some consistency. Here you see the player, he's gone again 100% with the smashes, but he's only hit 5 or 6 before going to the back. Now, at least that's better than some of the players, and I've seen so many warm-ups where they don't even hit 1 smash. So as most players don't have a lot of lessons, it's important you work on the bits that you want to. Here we'll look at the smashing again. So he hits about 8 smashes and he misses 6 or 7 of them. Now, if that's the case, you wait until you actually get a lot of accuracy and consistency with your smash before you start the game, because I've already done this game analysis and he goes and misses a lot of smashes at the beginning of the first set. Now, had he warmed up and had he started slowly and built up some confidence, maybe he might not have had that same start when it came to the game. And in this player's case, he's played the whole warm-up and not hit 1 volley or smash, and he's about to go into a match. So that's not really the ideal preparation when you're starting a set. So that warm-up in real time took about 4 to 5 minutes, which is pretty standard for how long people want to warm up for. I'm going to use the same amount of time now when I go onto court, but I'm going to do it in a lot more of a constructive way, working on all the shots that I want to work on and giving myself enough time and consistency to be able to improve those and to warm them up properly before I play any points. Even though you might not start short if you're in a tournament, it's worth doing it if it's a recreational or social game, because you get some real rhythm just from playing halfway up the court, get the feeling on the ball, the contact, get the ball in the middle of the racket, all that type of stuff. And you can get that by hitting softly at the front of the court before you move back. And this is a great way to get a little bit of consistency before you play. And you can see that I'm edging my way back here until we're almost at the back of the court. And we've done that in a gradual way without missing many balls. And you can see when we get to the back of the court, we're not hitting at 100 miles an hour. We're hitting at a nice controlled speed. We're using the back glass when it's necessary and just generally getting a warm-up for both sides and using the glass. Always on your toes, always trying to keep consistent and accurate. And if this was in a match when I didn't know my opponent, this would be a good way for me to feel out their game, see what they're comfortable with and everything like that. Then one player comes to the net and you're practicing not only defending at the back, but also they're practicing their volleys. And you can see here, we're obviously speed this up and I've cut some out, but we're hitting a lot of volleys, we're hitting a lot of balls from the back because those are 2 really important parts of the game. We're then also hitting a lot of smashes. Look how softly the smash is to start with and then building up with aggression until you're hitting an aggressive topspin and slice smash. Then the players switch and the other player practices their volleys and their overheads, but none of the players move forward until they're feeling comfortable and confident. And if you start slow, then that will happen. A lot of players might say they won't get confident with a certain shot, but if you're practicing a shot in your warm-up, you're more than likely going to get better at it. You then finish with the other player hitting some overheads. Now, if you're in a social or recreational game, you might also want to add in a couple of drills so that you all can practice some parts of the game. But if not, then you can go straight into some points. So many players complain to me that they're not warm until the second set, and often they use the first set as a practice, and then the second and third set is when they're really firing on all cylinders. But in some cases that might almost be too late. The thing with Padel is that you can lose a game and win a game so quickly. You could go 3 or 4 love down if you're not warm at the beginning of the match, and that's already the first set over, and that can happen in 15-20 minutes without you really even realizing it. So it's really important that you have a good, consistent, effective warm-up so that when you start that first point, you're feeling ready to go. And if you do and your opponents haven't warmed up properly, that's an added advantage that you have over them. So on this side I'm going to put a couple of drill videos, and these drill videos, if you're in a recreational or social game, you can use these as warm-up because they're a really good way to get moving up and down the court and then up and down with the smashing and the volleying.